I talked about how the Cleveland Browns came out there and tested and beat the 49ers last game. And one of the things that happens when you do upset a team is you come back the next week and everybody's patting you on the back. Everybody's telling you how great you are. Everybody's telling you the defense is the most dominant defense since the 85 Bears. People are saying, oh, PJ Walker's a darling. We doing what we need to do. All those things keep happening, right? And so you might fall into a situation where, is this the same position the 49ers was in? A lot of people said, G. Bush, you can't call out this is a must-win game. And I said, why can't I? And I think a lot of people have not been winners enough. And a lot of people start to buy into, here's the thing, when we all lose so much, it starts to be an echo chamber where somebody says it so many times that you naturally have to go along because it's confirmation bias. You start to look around and you say, well, my favorite talk show host says it on the radio. Then you go to national media says it, right? Then it goes to, well, listen, I'm hearing people, the opposite fans, Steeler fans, Ravens fans saying. So pretty soon you start to just naturally go along with certain things. And one of those things is when I talk about must wins, and there's a difference between what I'm doing right now here, talking to you guys as a media person, and what I'm doing when you talk about your experience as a player. And I think it's important sometimes you highlight the difference so you can see the mentality that's different. When I say there's a must-win game, people should embrace that. The fact that people say, no, it's not a must-win game unless your season's on the line. It's not a must-win game unless this is the last game of the year. If you lose, you go home. See, you got the wrong mentality. If you treat games in the regular season with teams that are inferior to you that you should beat, when you treat those games as must-win, then you can build up that faith, that confidence, and that mindset that when you are in that must-win situation, you know what it feels like. See, it happened with the Cavs last year. The Cavs, every good team that they played, it was an excuse. Oh, well, we're young. Evan Mobley hasn't taken a step yet. Donovan Mitchell is his only first year here. Jared Allen and Mobley, those guys need to gel together. Darius Garland needs to learn how to play and share the ball and all this other stuff, right? And you never put your foot down. You never had no expectations, and you never held people's foot to the fire and say, listen, we need to learn that stuff today, now. We need to have that fierce urgency of today so that tomorrow, when we in that situation, we don't fold like cheap Christmas trees. We don't fold like a tent like the Cavs did fold. It's all a process. And so when people tell you, oh, there's no such thing as a must-win game, that's not what I'm talking about. Literally, I'm talking about a must-win is a mentality. And so when you just beat the San Francisco 49ers, the hope is that you not only show good teams what they're in for, you put bad teams away and show they never had a shot. That's the correlation. And one of the things that could happen to a lesser coach team is they could come out here and not play with the same level of intensity. And I told this to see, this is a series of things I've been talking about. If you go back and watch my last blogs, it all matches, it all comes into the thing. It all rolls into one another. Last week, I told you that it's about the mentality, not the skill set. So when you got the Cleveland Browns, the only way they could get it upset, the only way this is a trap game, and the only way you can get trapped into anything is if you don't bring the same level of intensity. See, if you bring maximum intensity, nastiness on a consistent basis, that other team may make plays. That other team may score some touchdowns. Hey, they get paid too. But one thing that you don't have to worry about is lapses. See, your talent will take over eventually. You might be a close game in the first half, 10-10, but if you play with that same intensity, that same moving to the ball, swarming to the ball, and when you get there, you got an attitude, you're in the long run, Myles Garrett talent takes over. Denzel Ward's talent takes over. Dalvin Tomlinson's size and strength take over in that third or fourth quarter. And that's where you don't have people who have trap games. The reason the 49ers had a trap game is because they spent all their time acting like this was some sort of food fight. They act like they was having some sort of riot. They act like they wanted to, like they was in some gang war. That ain't where the game is played, fellas. That's bravado. That's extra. When they did that, I sat back and was like, oh, we got them. Oh, we got y'all. Oh, y'all spooked. Why would y'all be coming in with that type of energy? When you know you better than somebody, all you is focused on executing. Y'all was focused on pushing people like that was going to intimidate somebody. I already knew what was going on. Y'all ain't ready to play. And so for the Cleveland Browns to have any sort of setback or to allow anything to get in your mind about setbacks, it ain't happening. Because let me tell you something. As good as they play, I know Jim Schwartz is going around telling them this. Zadarius Smith, how you going to get cocky? You ain't got no sacks yet. I know what he's telling him. He telling Myles Garrett, you doing your thing, but you ain't got many sacks. It's this guy. You ain't got as many tackles for loss as him. They done already moved you up out of the way. They already think Bosa better than you, and they think TJ Watt better than you. You ain't got nothing to be rested on your laurels. Hey, Denzel, you been getting a lot of knockdown passes, but you and Greg Newsome ain't got no picks yet. And them safeties, I ain't seen enough hits. I ain't seen enough takeaways from the safeties neither. You see how that rolls? As good as they've been, Jim Schwartz is in their ear, still talking about them, still telling them, still pushing them to be great. And you know what he says? I don't care what y'all to get in San Francisco. I still got a nasty taste in my mouth when Lamar Jackson came into our stadium and did to us. What Justice Hill did, running around like he's somebody. And they didn't even have a whole lot of people on their team. What y'all was sad because Deshaun wasn't playing? What y'all was just upset? You melted and gave up 28 points because your quarterback wasn't there? That ain't good enough. I don't care who playing. I don't care if Barack Obama's your quarterback. We better be, it's a standard that we live to over here, and you didn't live up to it that game. You gave up 28. That's a nasty mark on our resume. That's what Jim Schwartz is telling them. There is no time for all of that half-step and stuff. That is why I know when I say something, and they'll be like, oh, how do you know the Browns ain't going to fall back? You think Jim Schwartz care about that? He like, listen, I ain't seen it there. Y'all ain't made enough plays yet. Y'all ain't got enough turnovers. We still getting penalties. We had penalties last week. Face mask. We look undisciplined that first drive. And I'm just telling you how he gonna tell them. This is the reason why I believe there's no step back. Because PJ Walker is still PJ Walker. He gave him 2 interceptions in our own territory. So they're gonna have to play out of their minds still. That's the mentality, and I don't think that changes. I don't think that changes. I think that is the point when we talk about the Cleveland Browns and when we talk about what's different about them is because now they have a guy who's a head coach with head coach experience and head coach pedigree, and a guy who's done it, and a guy who's won, and a dude who has wins under his belt, and a dude that is basically a nasty SOB when it comes to keeping it real, like where we at in the progression of it. And I think the best thing that they did was juxtaposing the way Kevin Stefanski handles himself. He's more soft-spoken. He's more analytical. He keeps a lot of stuff to himself. He defers over there. The best thing they could have done is hiring 2 head coaches for the special teams as well as the defense, because now you could be over there and look at your play sheet. You ain't got to worry about motivating Jim Schwartz. He know what the game is. You just worry about getting the offense up to a point where you can help the defense out, right? And that's another reason why I believe I would sit Deshaun Watson for this game, because I do feel like he's not going to let a letdown come up in this game. Let's get back to you. Let's get to your thoughts. Are you scared? Any trap game, any letdown, any of that stuff? Are you scared about that? Let's